light on those that are very important to us. And when you put something down on paper, it becomes more real, more concrete. I think it's more understandable.
Well, I think I heard on Oprah that people who write down their goals are 4 times more likely to achieve them.
And I can see that because it becomes real to you. When you're thinking something, it's always still in the abstract. When you write something down, it's like solid. It's like this table.
Well, I find that when I write, it refines it. Whatever I was thinking about initially gets refined and becomes more understandable or more intelligible to me.
There was someone who said that I write to find out what I'm thinking about it. I write to know what I'm what's going on in my own mind, because otherwise it's hard to understand.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever had any of your students write to their illness?
Yes, they've written to their illness, and then they've written back, and it's kind of like a focused healing takes place, because they learn to understand what's going on, because there's one part of our mind that questions, then another part of our mind that responds, and I think it's all within us. It's just a matter of tapping that.
Yeah, it's called intrapersonal communication, the communication that happens within ourselves, just like an interstate call from calling from Chicago, Illinois to Springfield, Illinois.
Okay.
I can diagram that out,
all right.
2 minds there.
Well, I'll have to see that sometime.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. What will participants learn in your workshop?
Well, like it said in the Infinity Foundation brochure, if you're unsure about where your life is going, and if it's not following the plot line that you had imagined, re-script it. And I help the participants re-script their lives using journal writing by looking at past failures, current conditions, and future opportunities. I also help them develop a journaling vocabulary that's really all their own, and they transfer it onto index cards, and then they can use it every day to help learn more about themselves and really what they want out of life.
This journaling vocabulary, can you give some examples of journaling vocabulary words?
It's really 100 words, and some of them are colors, some of them are verbs. They can be special numbers of adjectives, or numbers and adjectives. There's a whole assortment of words that people will use that are their only words, that they're only for them. And so everybody has their own vocabulary. Or there could be a set of 7. You could have 7 stars. It could be 7 dogs. And I go through all those types of things.
Now, do people use like acronyms like TGIF? Thank God it's Friday.
No, they could if they wanted to, but it's just single words, actually.
Yeah. Now, are these journaling words, are they private, like mantras, where you don't share these words with anybody else?
No, they're not that deep. It's just a 100-word vocabulary that if you wanted to start journaling that day, you might take 10 cards. You see some of your words, and of course your words have a lot to do with what you're thinking, what your issues are, what you care about. So it helps you start journaling every day if you're having somewhat of a writer's block.
Okay. Now, are there any of your journaling words you'd like to share?
Actually, I don't have them with me right now.
You don't know them off the top of your
head? I
head?
don't know them because they change all the time. In fact, I encourage my students to change them every 3 months or every 6 months.
And why is that? Why change the words?
Because our lives change. We meet new people. We have new experiences. We evolve as people, so our vocabulary will change.
Okay. Now, some people go back and review their journals. What do you... Say some words about that, reviewing a journal. Let's say reviewing something you wrote 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and they go, oh, I can't believe, that was like a whole different person.
Well, from the viewpoint of being a writer, I think sometimes it's good to look back on a journal, and it can really give me some ideas of some things that I might want to write about. Because when things happen right away at first, it's too close to us and we might write about it, and then it takes a while for us to really respond to that incident. And by looking back on a journal, sometimes I can take another look at it I'm distanced a little bit from it, and I can actually write more about it from a creative standpoint.
And do you write from your reaction? You know, you write down what your reaction was to what you previously wrote?
I think I'll just come up with images about it more than anything. Not a reaction to reaction, but maybe, you know, evolve it into something else.
Okay. Now,
That's a little deep, though. I don't know.
to each their own, I guess. Now, Weight Watchers uses journaling. I think it's an important process where people used to be, in your diet journal, you kept track of the calories. Now it's the points. Do you recommend journaling for weight loss? I'm sure it's something that can be done.
I do, and I encourage people to use the dialogues as well, as to address their weight, to write a letter to their weight, and to have a letter back about why you might be overweight or might underweight or whatever your problem might be. There may be an answer that's inside yourself that you really need to verbalize, to write down.
You know, as I mentioned to you before, I'm a clinical hypnotherapist. Do you find like you go into a trance while you're writing? You lose like all track of time. There's this technique in hypnosis called automatic handwriting, where words just pour out of you.
Well, I think writing is a lot like prayer, because once you get into it, you do lose yourself, and it's more like getting into that alpha state. Sometimes it's hard to start writing, just like anything. It's hard to exercise, but once you get started, you're really enjoying yourself, and you just keep going.
Okay, and so you mentioned the dialogue process is a bit like channeling. How is the dialogue process like channeling?
Well, I don't think it's like channeling at all, actually. I don't believe you need to channel. I think we're already spiritual people, and we can just really tap within ourselves and within our relationship with God. And I believe in God, and I have a personal belief in Jesus Christ. But other people may call it a higher power. But when you take these letters that can't be delivered, as I said, it comes from deep inside yourself. I do have a couple of examples that I can share. These are actually from elementary and high school students, so it shows you that doing the dialoguing is very easy. Anyone can do it. It's simple and straightforward, and these are relatively simple examples.
Now, are what you're going to read is from your students or from?
Oh, they're from the students. They actually have a poet named Alan Ziegler. He's worked with students. And this was a letter to tobacco. And these are very short. So,
okay, go to it.
Dear Tobacco, and this letter is from Michelle. Dear Tobacco, oh, you destroyed my mother. You ruined her life. And now she's gone. She'll never be back, all because of you. You drove her into smoking, but not of her own free will. I want you destroyed. Stop bringing death to all. Signed, Michelle. And then Tobacco answers, Dear Michelle, it's not my fault, believe me. Man has made me into a cigarette. I'd like to grow free, but man takes over me. I hate death and want to eliminate it. They saw me off and add chemicals too. They set me on fire and let me burn. Do you think I like being smoked?